Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sammy Ketchum, and welcome back to Sammy Ketchum TCG. Tonight, I am going to be talking about my locals experience today, where I went 3-0 and basically won the tournament at my local card shop. I played Zard today. Played Zard Pidgeot today at my locals. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about my experience at locals, and what I went through, what I played against, how I did, the matchups, how my games went. I think I want to try something. I want to try making more content on my channel because I don't really make too much content, but I need to make content, and I need to put myself out there more. I need to get more confident about making content. And this is a way for me to do it. So this is one of the things I'm going to try probably every week when I do locals. Kind of like a little recap. Of my locals experience and what I went through and what I played. But yeah. I kind of want to jump into this and do this. So, like I said, I played Charizard Pidgeot today at my locals. As you can tell, I wore like my local shops apparel, GSG. Shout out to them. They're a great shop here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I like to wear, some of their stuff. And I wanted to represent today. But let's go ahead and jump into this. I've been stalling for way too long. So let's talk about my matchups and what I played and what I went through. So let's start off with round one. Okay. Alright, so round one, I'm playing Zard. I played against Dragapult. Alright, so did I play against Dragapult? Yeah. I played against Dragapult. And and both of us had very bad starts. Both of us had very bad starts. When did I start out? I started out, I had like a Rotom in the active. I had a Rotom. I think I Nest Balled and Ultra Balled. I Nest Balled for another Charmander, I think. And then I Ultra Balled for Rotom? No, I had two Charmanders and a Rotom. But either way, I Nest Balled and Ultra Balled for one, the other two. And got them out. And then I literally passed. Passed and did Rotom's ability. On my opponent's side, they were playing Dragapult Xatu. They had a very bad start. They were able, I think they had a Rotom too. They had a Rotom, but didn't have a Dreepy down. So all they were able to do was use Rotom's instant charge. So it was basically a couple of turns where we both were just passing, but I was able to basically break out of the bad start first. I was able to evolve into Pidgeot. Pidgeot started getting me things. and then my opponent's next turn, they were able to go buddy poffin for some dreepies, get them out. They started getting set up. Once I had my Pidgeot out, the next turn, Charizard comes out. I take a prize, and then the game starts rolling. But yeah, but as the game is going on, in my deck is more spicier than normal. I have a line of Rapska in my Zard deck, just for decks like Dragapult. I was able to set it up and get it out because, we were both bricking early, and since I was able to set up more, I got this set up, and it was able to help me, at least, it basically helped me to keep Dragapult's bench damage from getting out of hand. So it did help me, even though it was literally the first thing to die, because they really wanted to get it off the field. They were like, oh no, this has to die. And it was the first thing to die. And I understood. I understood it was the first thing to go, and I was just like, go ahead. The next turn, I super rotted the pieces back, and then I nest balled for the relore. Hoping for it to keep me in the game just a little bit longer. Which it did. It did its job. It did its job. But I was able to do that. Did I? I think I did use him. I did use him. Okay. So I got him out. I did him. I also was able to pull off. I can't even talk right now. Delphox V. Delphox V is very good in this deck. I like pulling this combo off too. After I knocked out a Dragapult, I was able to use this to take. Actually, no. This helped me to knock out a Dragapult. I had damaged the Dragapult with Charizard, where they had taken one prize, and what was I doing? 210. So I did 210 to a Dragapult, and then I came back with the Delphox and went 120 to the active Dragapult, which killed it because of the Zard's damage. And then I did 120 to the bench on their bench Dracloak that was powered up. So I got rid of a Dragapult and a Dracloak that was getting powered up. So I was taking out his attackers. I could have taken out the Xatu, but even if I had taken out the Xatu, he still had another attacker. And then he had a third one that was getting ready. That was a Dreepy. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take out this one and take out a second attacker. So Delphox was really good today too. Both of these techs were very, very good against the Dragapult. I ended up winning that first game. As I was the one to get out of the brick house first. my second game a match. I played against Gardevoir. I would say Gardevoir was pretty easy. Gardevoir was pretty easy. Gardevoir was pretty easy. I was able to, I was able to go second, set things up. Guardy, don't get me wrong, my opponent on the other side, they set up pretty well. They set up well. They went first, had their buddy Poffins, whatever, and then on their next turn, they did the TM Evolution. So, they were setting up like they should be setting up. Guardy did Guardy things, but I did Zard things. I was able to set up, they were able to set up. I took a prize first, I think. Yeah, I took one prize, and then my opponent came back with the Drifloon. And he came back with the Drifloon, had energies in the discard pile, got out the Gardevoir. He unfair stamped me. On that turn after I took my first prize. Unfair stamped me. And then killed off my Zard. Alright. Now, I got unfair stamped into Counter Catcher and I think something else. But Counter Catcher was one of the cards I needed. Counter Catcher was one of the cards I needed because now I am, I want to say behind on prizes? Not behind on prizes. Now I have more prizes than my opponent, so Counter Catcher is live. On my next turn, after my Zard gets knocked out by the Drifloon, I think I bring up Pidgeot. Alright, so what I do is this. I use Pidgeot to search for Lost Vacuum. No, Pidgeot to search for Arven, I think. Arven or Lost Vacuum, or one of them. A Pidgeot to search for Arven. Arven gets Lost Vacuum and Lost Vacuum and a Vitality Band or something. Alright, so I Lost Vacuumed the I can't talk. I Lost Vacuumed the Bravery Charm on the Drifloon away. That knocks out the Drifloon in the active. So that's one prize. Then I Counter Catcher up. The Gardevoir. Counter Catcher up the Gardevoir. And then I bring out my second Zard, which was already evolved. Bring out my second Zard and all that. Boom. I knock out the Gardevoir because my Zard is Dark type. We're Dark type. So I knock out the Guardy easily. So I take 3 prizes in one turn. And I'm left with 1 prize. My opponent still has 4 prizes. There's really no way they could come back to win. I got 1 prize left. Even if they knock out something on their next turn, I'm going to end up winning. I've got 1 prize left. I've got attackers on the field that could do the job. This was like textbook Charizard win. Lost Vacuum, Bravery Charm, Counter Catcher or Boss Up, the Guardy 3 prize turn. And then after that, just take your last prize. My last game was against one of my friends. I mean, they're all my friends. The locals are all my friends. He's a pretty close friend. He was playing Gholdengo. Yep, he was playing Gholdengo. And last week he beat me. He beat my Miraidon deck with his Gholdengo deck. Which, Miraidon doesn't have a good matchup against Gholdengo anyway. But, you know, this was basically kind of like a rematch. Even though I was playing Zard. So, you know, against Gholdengo, I get to go second. You know, he opens up. He does pretty decently. I open up. You know, I get out my stuff. And when I'm getting out my bench and I'm going like... And I'm going Buddy Buddy Poffin. You know, Buddy Buddy Poffin, Arven, whatever. And I'm like, okay. His deck has Palkia. His deck has the Palkia and the Greninja along with the Gholdengo. You know, so I instantly knew that he was going to go for the Palkia V-Star. You know, the Palkia V-Star, get Greninja out. Greninja, Moonlight Shuriken, my bench. I went and I checked my deck and I was like, wait a minute. I don't play Manaphy in this deck because I have the Rapska. You know, but the Rapska in this situation is bad because I can't, I would have to take an extra turn to get it out. But I still set up the Relore on that first turn, just in case they don't pull off. Just in case they don't pull off the Greninja, you know, I could then bring out the Rapska, you know, and have it, and I would stop them. But lo and behold, I was one turn. I was already a turn too late. You know, I was already a turn too late. He gets out his next turn. He goes Palkia. He gets the combo off. He goes Palkia, retreat, 2 energies in his discard pile, attaches the energy for a turn to Greninja, Palkia V-Star ability, get 2 energies, attaches it to the Greninja. He Moonlight Shurikens both my Charmanders right off the bench. I have no attackers. I'm a turn behind. Right then and there, I basically lost the game. I lost the game right there. There really was no continuing the game. I mean, I played it out. I kept playing it out. Actually, I did play it out. And I'm so glad I did play it out after I got Moonlight Shuriken. After that turn, I take my next turn. My Relore was still out. So I evolved the Rapska so he couldn't try to Moonlight Shuriken me again. You know, I wasn't going to let that happen again. So my Rapska was out there. I got down another Charmander. I started setting up my bench again. I was able to get out Pidgeot, Rare Candy Pidgeot. And then what did I do? I used Rotom. Drew 3. I was behind a turn. So I was really struggling. Actually, what did I do? Did I do that turn? Actually, I think that's what I did. Or was that later? That might have been later. But I was behind. I was way behind. So he came up. I think he got another prize. Did he? Yeah, I think he got another prize. No. I think what I did was I counter-catchered up. His Palkia. His Palkia V-Star. I counter-catchered that up because of that 2 retreat cost. He needed 2 energies to retreat it. and there's no easy way to retreat the Palkia V-Star. He already used the V-Star ability, so he has to manually retreat it. And I don't know if he runs like switches or anything like that. So I did bring that up to stall him out a little bit. I did. And then on his next turn, I was able to get Charizard. Out. But I couldn't knock out the Palkia. So I had Charizard, couldn't knock out the Palkia. He goes, and then he attaches a second energy to the Palkia and knocks out my Rotom V in the active. I had to put Rotom out because I didn't want my Charizard out there. Because I didn't want him to knock out the Charizard. I didn't want him to knock out the Charizard. I didn't want him to knock out my Pidgeot. I was like, I'm not sticking the Pidgeot out there. If he gets off an attack, he's knocking out my Pidgeot. You know what I'm saying? So the Rotom had to go. So I think he was at 2 prizes at this point. So I was like, okay. So now what I'll do is I'll send out Pidgeot, and I was like, I gotta go with Radiant Zard. So I had Radiant Zard down there. I had an energy down there. I attached a Vitality Band to the Radiant Zard. So now Radiant Zard is doing 280. So now I can knock out the Palkia V-Star, which I could not do on my last turn because I was only going to do 270. That's why I didn't bring out the Zard. That's why I let Rotom V get knocked out. But so I brought out the Radiant Zard. I think I Iono'd him. Had out the Radiant Zard. What's his name? Knocked out the Palkia. He comes back and he knocks out my Radiant Zard. He's able to knock out my Radiant Zard easily. He's at 1 prize now. After knocking out my Radiant Zard, he's at 1 prize. I'm clawing my way back into the game. I'm at 4 prizes. So, I'm clawing my way back into the game. So, I take my turn. And, my Radiant Zard's in the discard pile. He has 1 prize left. 1 prize! And he has his Godangos out. So, I'm like, okay. So, now I can knock out his Godangos. I'm like, so, what am I going to do here? Alright, so, this is what I do. I think I Iono him. Yes, I Iono him. And then, I Iono him. The Minion to go get Iono. There was a play that I was going to try to do. And I was actually going to try to use Delphox V against his Gholdengo. Now, what's special about this Delphox V is that his attack does 120. Gholdengo's weak to fire. So this 120 would be 240 against an active Gholdengo. If I attach a Maximum Belt, which that's my A-Spec, if I attach Maximum Belt, it's hitting for even more. So 120 plus 50, what's that? 120, 30, 40, 50, 60, 170. 170 times 2. This is knocking out Gholdengo. This is going to knock out Gholdengo. So, this is knocking out Gholdengo. But this also does 120 to the bench. Now, I was going to do this, but I realized everything on his bench was either more than 120, or he also had the bench barrier Bidoof on the bench, which means I could not hit his Bidoof. His Bidoof had the bench barrier, and everything else was above 120, so I wasn't going to get 3 prizes. So I could only get 2 prizes. So I was like, okay, so let's forego that play. Let's just go Lumineon for Iono. You know, Iono him to 1 card. Iono him to 1 card because he needs more cards for the combo to knock me out. So I bring out Zard, Iono him to 1, and knock out his Gholdengo. He needs 7 cards. Actually, he needs 8 energies. He needs 8 energies. 7 to knock me out for his hand, and 1 energy to attach for the turn to the Gholdengo, his last Gholdengo, in order to win the game. Iono to 1. He digs deep. He goes coin bonus for 2, coin bonus, Radiant Greninja, Ultra Ball for Bibarel. Like he literally had all of this. Coin bonus for 2, coin bonus for 1, Radiant Greninja, Ultra Ball for Bibarel. Bibarel draw into Superior Energy Retrieval. Superior Energy Retrieval, get 4 energies back. He also was able to play Cyllene. Now, if he would have hit heads on Cyllene, he could have put not Counter Catcher, but he could have put Prime Catcher on the top of his deck. And then with the last coin bonus, drew into his Prime Catcher up something weak, and just kill me for 1 prize. But he hit double tails on Cyllene, and he didn't have enough energies. He couldn't get enough energies back from his discard pile with the 1 Superior Energy Retrieval to knock out my Zard. I made a comeback. I made a serious comeback after getting Moonlight Shuriken in the beginning of the game, holding my opponent to 1 prize card to win the game on the next turn. Oh man, that was an exciting series. But yeah, he almost cooked me, man. He had me, man. He had me shaking in my boots. But I pulled out the win over Gholdengo. Oh man, that was really a game. But yeah, man. The local scenes are fun. You know, you get to see all types of great decks when you're playing against your friends, when you're playing at locals. But those were my matchups. Those are what I played against. I got like 4 packs of 2 prize two prize packs. You know, the Pokemon League prize packs. I got 2 of those. But yeah, it was really fun. But that's gonna be it for this segment. I'm probably gonna be doing this every week, you know, so look out for that. So this is something that you guys can look forward to every Sunday evening. All right, guys, that is the video. Shout out to Get Some Game again, one of the best card shops in Charlotte, North Carolina. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, make sure you take care of yourself and each other. Thank you.